Hello guys and welcome to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix here on the F1 2015 game, and trying something a little bit new today. Basically, with the AI on this game being a little bit freshened up compared to previous versions, I thought it would be a cool idea to let the game simulate a race here at Spa, and in that way kind of predict the outcome of this weekend's Belgian Grand Prix, and at the same time take advantage of the lovely TV cameras in the replays, which is basically the only thing that Codemasters have absolutely nailed in this year's game, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, the qualifying has already happened in real life, and you know, it looks quite different compared to what the game has given us here. There is unfortunately no way to preset the grid order on this game, so we'll just have to go what the game gives us, and it has given us a Ferrari second row, which is very different to what it is in real life, but it has given us a Mercedes front row, which is the same as in real life, but this game has given us Nico Rosberg on pole position ahead of Lewis Hamilton, so another little difference there. I have basically taken a spectator seat in Roberto Merri's Manor Marussia for this race because, let's be honest, he is most likely not going to be particularly important for the outcome of this race. So I am basically just going to stay out of the way and let the AI do the business here and let the game decide how this race turns out. It is only a 25% race because I was lacking a bit of time and I really don't know how well or badly this will go. But let's just dive into it, and maybe if we're lucky, the game might just give us an exciting race here. As we are now underway with the F1 2015 simulated Belgian Grand Prix, and Nico Rosberg retains his lead into the first corner, but it looks like Felipe Massa is having a look on Sebastian Vettel, I believe, up through turn 1, but Vettel stays ahead and Bottas remains in 6th place as well, with a bit of scrambling further down the field, but it looks like most of the positions have been retained as they started. Going up our route for the first time with Vettel a little bit under pressure from both of the Williams, not far behind him at all, as you can see here from his backwards view. And Lewis Hamilton is pulling to the inside of Nico Rosberg now, going down the Camel straight into Lecombe. They're going side by side for the lead on the entrant. Nico Rosberg trying to hold it around the outside, but then Lewis does the same on the next corner. Rosberg edging his car back ahead, but Lewis carrying most speed through the inside of that corner to take the lead of the race after starting from second. And that was some surprisingly good, clean battling from the Mercedes drivers there, considering that's the corner where they crashed last season in real life. Very controversially as well, of course, as we can see the rest of the field coming through now in the middle of the lap. Hard to see what position everyone is in, but it looks like Romain Grosjean is running P14 at the moment. Quite disappointing for him, really. But let's now look back at the replay from the first lap with Romain Grosjean going down the inside of two drivers going into Lecombe, up the inside of both Felipe Nasser and Carlos Sainz, and then holding it around the outside of Sainz and getting very close to complete that move. And that's how he got up to 14th, after actually having started the race from 16th, which is obviously quite a bit lower down than where he'll be starting in real life, despite his third-place grid penalty. But we are now coming to the end of the first lap, and the Williams drivers are getting very close together. There's a little bit of a gap forming ahead of Felipe Massa up to the Ferraris, and also a little gap forming behind the Williams drivers. But Valtteri Bottas is getting very close to Massa at the moment, who wants to be that lead Williams by the looks of it, and Hamilton then starts the second lap in the lead of this simulated race, and you can see there's quite a massive train down in the midfield and towards the back, with only Jenson Button at the moment managing to hold on out of the two McLarens. Alonso looking closer to the Manor than to the rest of the field. But here we go then, back on the DRS straight. Can Nico Rosberg do what Hamilton did to him on the first lap and retake the position with DRS? It doesn't look like he was going to get close enough. There is a move though, going on for 7th place. That is past Maldonado, slipstreaming his way and DRSing his way past Sergio Perez, in fact. So Maldonado up to 7th there without having crashed so far, so I think Codemasters might have to work on their realism a little bit. But yeah, it's looking good for the Mercs, but both of the Ferraris are hanging on very close behind. I'm not sure if that's because the Mercs are battling a little bit, but the Ferraris seem to have very good pace there, which I think it will be tough to replicate in real life for them, considering where they'll be starting in the race tomorrow. But we've got Daniel Kvyat running 13th at the moment, quite far back in this massive midfield train, which is now basically a Maldonado train. There's a huge gap ahead of Maldonado up to the Williams drivers now. So we've got Maldonado in 7th, Perez in 8th, Ricciardo in 9th, I believe. Max Verstappen is the car in 10th, and then we got Marcus Ericsson in 11th. Come on, Marcus, get into the points for Scandinavia, mate. Lovely shots of the cars coming through here, very close together. And Ricciardo looking feisty, wanting to maybe get past Sergio Perez. And now back to the front, Lewis Hamilton still leading the race ahead of Nico Rosberg, but Nico is getting extremely close going into the bus stop chicane. And the Ferrari still hanging on though. It's Kimi Räikkönen in 3rd, ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Slightly surprising, I guess, considering their form so far this season. And here we got the man, the myth, the legend, Marcus Ericsson in 11th place, the Swedish lad himself. And it looks like the order of the drivers in this train is not changing as it stands. It's still just a huge queue of cars stuck behind Pastor Maldonado at the moment. Lewis Hamilton though on board as we go up a Rouge. Beautiful shot. I really love that these TV cameras vary a bit and aren't the same every lap. But Nico Rosberg now is looking extremely close and he's going for it on the inside, and that is an absolutely easy move. It's a straight pass before they even reach the corner with DRS. Oh, and side by side with the Williams drivers as well. That is Valtteri Bottas going up the inside of Felipe Massa to take 5th place in the race. If he can hang on, he's sliding a bit through the corner there, but has the inside for the exit. And Valtteri Bottas passes his teammates and has more side by side with Maldonado being passed by Sergio Perez. Perez, of course, who qualified very well in real life as well, and he's now leading that huge midfield train. And let's see. Whoa! Let's look at that from Valtteri Bottas. He was not sure what side he was going to go of Massa there. It looks like he was going to go on the grass for a bit, but then he gets back over and gets a move done. And here's how Sergio Perez went up the inside of Maldonado, who hung on very well. They went side by side through there, just like the Mercs on the first lap. And Perez ultimately had the inside line and got them in position. Done. And man, the AI very feisty here in the race in the first few laps. Actually pretty fun to watch, as we got a nice little onboard shot of Vettel as well in 4th place, going up a Rouge and now onto the Camel Straight. And we are on lap 4 now actually, as Lewis Hamilton is maybe having a chance to get back at Nico Rosberg. He goes up the inside again, and this time, just like on lap 1, they're getting so close together. Lewis once again has the best line for the exit. Can Rosberg hold on this time? No, he cannot. So Lewis Hamilton retakes the lead, and that is the 3rd position change I believe we've seen for the lead so far this race. Neither of them giving up. And here we got Roman Grosjean actually. Oh, he's been repassed by Carlos Sainz, because he was ahead of Sainz, but Sainz, man, he's pulled off a great move there, held it around the outside of the exit of the Lecom complex there. Oh, wow! We got Sebastian Vettel on the inside of Kimi Räikkönen through Puhan. That was an insane move. Man, I wasn't expecting the AI to pull off a move like that. Vettel passing Räikkönen into Puhan. That is not the corner you normally see passes, but Vettel has made it work and he's up to the podium position. And I know, I'm getting very excited here by just some AI driving, but you know, I wasn't expecting this exciting of a race from the AI here. As we saw in the background there, won the Ferraris. That must have been Kimi Räikkönen going into the pit lane actually. That's the first man to pit, I believe, at the end of lap 4. That's quite early. So the pit stops could prove to be quite crucial actually for this race. It's only going to be one of them, of course, in the 25% distance race. And Kimi Räikkönen clearly trying to go for an early undercut here. There doesn't seem to be any other drivers going in at the moment, so Räikkönen the only man in the pit. As we focus back on the Mercedes drivers out in front, they seem to be pulling away from Sebastian Vettel quite a bit now. And here we go again, up the inside. Nico Rosberg this time goes for the inside of Lewis Hamilton. Hold it around the outside of the second apex. Hamilton trying to fight back, but Rosberg gets the position, and that's a 4th position change for the lead. Rosberg, who started on pole, gets himself back ahead. And here is Kimi Räikkönen actually, after having come out of the pit lane in 16th place, and he's been put under pressure from the McLaren Honda down the straight. I mean, this is not something we expected to see. The Honda engine nearly pulling itself past the Ferrari on the straight with DRS, of course. But seriously, if the Ferrari had been passed by the McLaren Honda there, that would have been some embarrassing times. But Kimi Räikkönen stays ahead for now and has a little bit of clean air by the looks of it. As we've skipped now onto the end of lap 5 with Sebastian Vettel running at 3rd, and he's going into the pit lane now, is he? Yep, he sure is. Along with one of the Mercs, that is Lewis Hamilton pitting from 2nd, Nico Rosberg staying out in the lead, and Felipe Massa as well from 5th going into the pits with Valtteri Bottas staying out. So he goes up to 2nd for the time being. Nice clean pit stop for Hamilton, and that looked a bit slow to me for Vettel there, but I don't know, he gets out not too far behind Hamilton. So we've got quite a group going into the pits now as well, with Ricciardo, Verstappen, Ericsson and Hülkenberg, I believe. So let's see where Lewis Hamilton comes out, and ooh, that's going to be traffic for him. It's going to be traffic. He comes out behind the Force India of Sergio Perez, and as we got a bunch of floating tires in the pit lane, the pit crews have completely disappeared for some reason. Very interesting there. So we got action ahead of Lewis Hamilton. That is Sergio Perez passing Maldonado, and Hamilton once in on the action as well, goes very close to the back of Maldonado. He gets a move done on the straight, and here we have Kimi Räikkönen actually running in 10th now, and he's got a battle ahead of him and he's being completely held up here. As said before, he looked to be having some clean air, but not anymore. He's got Nasser and Sainz battling ahead of him, which is not going to help at all, although Raikkonen now were wanting to take matters into his own hands, passing Carlos Sainz into turn 10, I believe. And Kimi now up to 9th place in the race, obviously with several drivers ahead not having pitted yet. And Lewis Hamilton now, after having passed Maldonado, wants to get past Hülkenberg, Sergio Perez actually as well, who's currently running 3rd without having pitted. And Hamilton can't do that at the moment, so he's running at Sergio Perez's pace, while his teammate Nico Rosberg is running by himself out in front, and this could severely compromise Lewis Hamilton here, and it might just have backfired for him to have pitted before his teammate. You know, usually the undercut works well, but not at the moment. And here we got Sebastian Vettel trying to get past Ricciardo as well, not far behind. And Hamilton, though, he goes for it on the back straight, on the inside through Blanchimont. They're side by side. Sergio Perez tried to hang on there, but ultimately was forced to back out of it to avoid running wide. And Vettel now looking on the inside, on the outside of Daniel Kvyat actually, and he's gone around the outside into the bus stop. Kvyat goes into the pit lane, and what a move from Sebastian Vettel that was, who now surely goes back up to 3rd after Bottas was now in the pits as well. And here's Nico Rosberg. Where's Lewis Hamilton? He's nowhere to be seen. I think he just came around the first corner there. And Valtteri Bottas then, could he get in between the Ferraris actually? He's getting very close to Kimi Raikkonen on the exit of the pit lane here. Raikkonen though just sneaks ahead going before Rouge. And that was unlucky for Bottas. Might have been his only chance to get ahead of one of the Ferraris there, after being quite far behind earlier in the race, but clearly gained time through the pit stops. And here we go then. Look like Daniel Ricciardo has moved himself ahead by quite a margin of this midfield group. Daniel Kvyat though under pressure from Nico Hülkenberg, who goes up the inside. It does a Mark Webber on Fernando Alonso 2011 move into a Rouge on poor Daniel Kvyat, who just came out of the pit lane, and he is now being put under pressure from several cars. He's been passed by the Toro Rosso down the straight, he's been passed by the Lotus, been passed by the Force India as they go 3 wide down into Lecombe. Who will emerge ahead as they come through the next few corners? Hülkenberg's up to 8th, and Max Verstappen up to 9th by the looks of it. Grosjean in 10th, and Sergio Perez has dropped down to 11th, and Kvyat, after coming out of the pits in 8th, has lost 4 positions and is now 12th ahead of Maldonado, who has dropped from 7th when he was leading the train in the first stint and is now running 13th. And man, that was incredible. I can't believe we just saw a Webber Alonso move into a Rouge there from Nico Hülkenberg in this AI-driven race, as we now see Romain Grosjean passing Max Verstappen for a 9th position, I believe. And those two have started pulling away from the rest of the train quite a bit, with Nico Hülkenberg not far ahead of them as well. So it could be a 3-way fight for 8th position possibly. But Daniel Ricciardo looking very comfortable in 7th, quite far ahead of them. As we start lap 9 now, with Nico Rosberg still in the lead there. You can see the gap to Lewis Hamilton is a matter of maybe 2 seconds, as we got more side-by-side action on the back straight between Daniel Kvyat and Sergio Perez. I believe that was Kvyat passing Perez for 11th there, so good move for him, but the gap up to the points positions is now several seconds. It might not be any points for Kvyat here in this virtual race of the Belgian Grand Prix. To skip a bit further on, and Sergio Perez just wants that position straight back. Daniel Kvyat's Renault engine cannot defend on the straight. And here we have the battle for 8th, I believe, with Romain Grosjean getting close to Nico Hülkenberg, and then back to the battle for 12th. And it's Kvyat losing another position, this time to Pastor Maldonado. And Kvyat's Renault engine just can't seem to be able to cope down that long DRS straight at the moment. Is that an omen for the race tomorrow, I wonder? But here we go then. Max Verstappen running in 10th place at the moment at the back. Whoa! Verstappen's gone straight off the track there, spun back on to the racing line, and he's been now sitting there as a ghosted car on the racing line as the rest of the field comes through. I mean, I don't think that is going to be an accurate prediction for what is going to happen in a real life race. I assume that Verstappen is not going to turn into a ghost on the racing line, but that is very interesting. I assume that's the game's way of simulating a DNF or something like that, because he did not seem to be able to carry on after that, and Verstappen then potentially out of this race. Well, he surely is out of this race, and could that be an omen for tomorrow? Obviously, Verstappen has an unfortunate history of DNFs here this season in real life, as here we go then, final lap, and the Mercedes are back close together with Lewis Hamilton chasing Nico Rosberg. Look at this amazing helicopter shot, by the way. I really love that the cameras, like I mentioned before, are like a bit varied. They're really shaking it up a bit by using different angles for different laps and stuff. And that was lovely to see the Mercedes going close. And oh, speaking of close, that is Roman Grosjean and Nico Hülkenberg for 8th place there. Grosjean almost looked like he was going to hit Hülkenberg on the straight there, but Hülkenberg's trying to hang on to that position. They're battling for 8th, like I said, side by side through turns 7, 8 and 9, and Grosjean has got the inside line, gets that move done. We've seen there are lots of side-by-side action through those 3 corners with the AI in this race, and usually the car with the inside line on the exit has won that battle, apart from one occasion with color signs. But here we go, this is for the lead of the race. Lewis Hamilton carrying a lot more speed onto the back straight, and they're going side by side into Blanchimont. Lewis Hamilton has taken the lead, is pulled ahead of Nico Rosberg with only a couple of corners to go in the race. Could Lewis Hamilton win this simulation of the Belgian Grand Prix with a move just before the end into the bus stop chicane, the final corner? Rosberg just can't respond. Hamilton with a great comeback after losing out quite a lot through the pit stops, and he wins this F1 2015 prediction of the Belgian Grand Prix race by less than a car length ahead of Nico Rosberg. Vettel back there coming home in a 3rd for the podium, and I believe it's Kimi in 4th, Bottas in 5th, Massa 6th. But the battle for 8th is not over yet. Grosjean desperately trying to defend from Nico Hülkenberg side by side through the bus stop chicane on the final corner. Hülkenberg pulled himself ahead, but no, Grosjean is back ahead on the exit. Who can cross the line first? I honestly have no freaking clue. Who just got 8th position there? Sergio Perez at least comes home for the final point in 10th. Marcus Ericsson dropped down to 15th in the end, that's disappointing. Button, the leader McLaren, in 16th, ahead of Alonso. And then there's me, driving as Roberto Merri, just strolling to the finish at the back. And Jesus Christ, guys, I mean, if the real-life race tomorrow is anything like what the F1 2015 AI just produced for us here, I'm going to be happy with that, to be honest. I would very much like that. Even though the end result in terms of the teams were quite as expected, with a double Merc up in front, followed by the 2 Ferraris and then the 2 Williams. And then Ricciardo, last year's winner here, getting 7th, with Nico Hülkenberg, the man who won that side-by-side finish with Roman Grosjean, to get 8th in the end by basically just 1/100th of a second. It looked even closer than that to me, to be honest. But Sergio Perez as well, getting 1 point in 10th place. Obviously he'll be fancying an even higher result tomorrow in real life, to be honest, after I believe he's starting 4th, isn't he, actually? So maybe he could take some tips out of Giancarlo Fisichella book and drag that Force India onto the podium. But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see what happens tomorrow. I mean, this simulation was surprisingly exciting. I didn't expect this, to be honest. This much battling from the AI, even though the majority, of course, was created by the long DRS rates. But we did see some moves in other places of the track as well. We saw Vettel passing into Pouhon, we saw Hülkenberg pass in Upper Rouge, and a couple of side-by-sides through Blanchimont as well. So, so the game actually producing a very exciting race for us, with the pass for the lead also happening right at the end of the race. So I mean, we can only hope that we get a similarly action-packed race in real life tomorrow. And if you want to, let me know your top 5 predictions for the race tomorrow in the comments below. I'll say that if you get it right, if you get the top 5 order right in their correct positions, I will give you a sneaky mention in the next video that I do. Well, if I do more of these prediction videos, let me know as well in the comments if this is something you actually enjoyed. I was not actually sure what to expect going into making this video, but it was actually surprisingly fun, to be honest, both to edit and to commentate. So yeah, let me know what you think. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. I would very much appreciate that, and I will see you soon for some more racing videos, and I hope you all enjoy the Belgian Grand Prix tomorrow. See you later, guys. Goodbye.